3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Weed and Wellness Podcast. I'm St. Lucian and I'm with Nina and Naomi today.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, guys.
And today we're going to be talking about Ayurveda. And if you've never heard of Ayurveda, well, stay tuned.
Get ready.
Naomi,
Yes.
how are you today? Thanks for coming on.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And it's so amazing to share this ancient science with you guys. To put it very simply, Ayurveda to me is like this beautiful roadmap back to your true self and the body. It teaches us how to deeply listen to the body. It's a preventative practice, and it dates back 5,000 years in India. So if you think about that, it never ceases to amaze me how far back these sciences and practices were happening, and we get to have this now. And so it connects us back to the body, it connects us to nature, and it's just a very lovely, easy, kind practice to incorporate into your lifestyle. And so it looks at the body as a whole system working together. And within that, we look at if there are imbalances. We have doshas, there's your constitution, and it also is a way to learn these practices to incorporate into your daily rituals. And they're just so natural and easy. And when you start using Ayurveda and these practices, you'll have these moments of aha, or where it's just felt familiar because it is all connected back to something in nature and natural. What else can I say about Ayurveda? It's very hard to put into words. It's an experience. It's wisdom. It's that deeper listening to our bodies. In Western culture and in Western medicine, we're taught that the doctor knows best, and there's a lot of treatment around symptom, which is also needed. But I feel like these Eastern practices that are coming in now are so supportive and helpful because it really empowers you to start to take better care of yourself, like you want to. And it does it in a way that's so effortless and inviting. And so when you're treating with Ayurveda, it looks, if there's a symptom, it goes deeper than that to see what was behind that, and then what was behind that. So it takes you back to the root cause of where those imbalances stemmed from. And it's I don't know, before I was doing Ayurveda, I had no idea that we could know that about our bodies that fully, that there's all these layers. So yoga and meditation, which I also teach, are sister sciences, and they're prescribed in Ayurveda. So it's amazing. If you're already doing yoga, you're already doing Ayurveda. So it's you're knowing the physical side of how to take care of your body and its breath. And I hope that explains a little bit. Yeah, because it's a big science.
Yeah.
So it's an ocean of knowledge. It's a lifetime of study.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
And the translation of the word itself is the science of life.
Yes,
exactly.
So it's
longevity.
Wow.
A big definition. That's a huge, broad statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys got to experience a consultation with me a couple weeks ago, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Nina, you've had a little experience with Ayurveda.
In the past.
Yeah.
Before, yeah. One of the questions I have for you is, if you can remember this, do you remember the first time that you ever heard about Ayurveda and you were like, what? What? Huh? Do you remember your first time hearing it?
Yes. And I remember saying that exactly. Wait, how are we saying this? What is this spelling?
Mm-hmm.
So I was leaving a yoga class, and it was in the studio. They had a library, and there was this book I have it in my library. I usually give it to people where they're first learning about Ayurveda. It looks like stereo instructions, and it's just the science of Ayurveda, and there's just a dude from the 70s on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about the book that just sort of drew me in. Maybe it was the illustrations, or seeing this body and like all of these crazy lines around it, but I was drawn in, and I just bought the book and then started reading about what the whole, you know, experience and journey of it is. Yeah, and started from there. So that was like 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A book, the power of a good
Just
cover,
the cover
of
of
a
a
book.
book. Yeah.
A crazy guy like this.
Yeah. And then the moment I decided to dive in and do my practitioner training was when I was in India. So I went to India for my 500-hour yoga training, and it was at an Ayurvedic retreat place.
Oh, cool.
So I was learning. The first thing I like, where it was just, it spoke to my heart. Every morning I'd be walking to the studio, this temple area where we did yoga, and you'd walk past these treatment rooms, and these women were preparing all the oils for the body treatments, and they were crushing the herbs and then the oils, and the aromas were just, it was just beautiful. And the way they were doing the massage was so specific and so different, nothing I had ever seen. So I would get treatments, and then I was hooked. It was just like, I gotta know more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you felt so good, like after.
It felt so good, and it was, you know, everything about it was, it worked with the flow of my body. Nothing felt invasive. Nothing, you know, everything just sort of blended so beautifully together. From the aromas to the treatments to, they intuitively knew how to give you the treatments and what you needed for your dosha, for your constitution, or for what your imbalances were in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Like magic.
Yeah. Lucian, how was the consult for you a couple weeks ago?
I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and
Good.
so I guess some of my my treatment, or what would you say? The treatment
Yeah, the
was,
treatment plan. Yeah.
was to make sure I'm doing my daily meditations. Cause I'm what, higher in the Vata?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of Vata that was out of balance, and so to dive a little into the doshas,
Yeah,
so everyone
that'd be
can
awesome.
Let's dig into the dosha.
I tread really lightly with the doshas because I feel like in the West we get very attached to like how things is a certain way, we should do this, and like this is my dosha, I should be doing this for all this, and I simply say that we have all three of the doshas. So Ayurveda works with everything living. So you have the elements of nature, space and air, fire and water and earth. And then the three doshas are divided into those three, those units of the nature elements. So Vata is space and air. It's all the movement. Pitta is fire and water, and it's transformation. And then Kapha is water and earth, and that's the structure. So we have all three. And we have one, I like to look at it like, if you're driving in a car, you have the one dosha, that's the driver, and then there's usually one right next to you, the passenger, and then there's the dude in the back. Like the third one's usually like not lost, but like, you know, just in the back. Some of us have all three. Yeah, you can especially if you're pitta, you're like pedal to the metal. But yeah,
the worst
Like,
backseat driver ever. Oh my gosh, the worst.
That's amazing. So
Just gave them
Yeah.
insight on driving in the car with you.
so we have all three, and there's we're born with our constitution, the one that's always solidly right in the front, but at any time in our life it can shift around. So if you're having an imbalance, that means that there's a dosha that's depleted, or it's a little louder, or it's doing something that's disrupting the body. So that could be a light disruption, or it could be like a long-standing disruption. So we can feel that in the pulse, and we can feel that in knowing about what's happening in your life right now, stress levels, sleep, diet, gut, all of that looks at that. So yeah, for you, there was a little bit of Vata happening, all that movement, and we talked about giving you a little bit more of that grounding energy, and really diving into those routines for your daily.
The morning
Yeah.
meditation, you get a tea
Yeah, and just
and coffee, right? Coffee, not after,
not too many,
and
because
not
the
too
4
late,
espressos.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to
Yes.
drink. I love my coffee,
I love
Americano.
coffee too.
4 shots.
Yeah,
4 shots.
that's okay. That's okay.
We're lining
you
up
could
here.
moving down to 2 or.
I actually have been. I actually
Yeah.
I've been making coffee at home, and that's kind of like
That's
at
great.
home. It's all right. It's not as good as getting somebody else
Sure.
giving you that coffee, and it just tastes better
Sure.
elsewhere. But it's still
Absolutely.
great coffee. But I'm
Good.
doing less of it because I'm just not
Yeah.
as.
Yes. And just to ask, did you feel some differences like right away, even if they were subtle?
Sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, my
So
sleep.
this is
I've been getting a little more sleep lately.
beautiful.
Yeah,
So
that's
this
an
is how
immediate
it.
one.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's just an immediate one was the sleep that I
Mhm.
noticed for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. And that's part of what it is. It's not. I think again, like here, we were raised and conditioned in thinking that results have to be these big changes, these big, steps, or like a big sensation. And Ayurveda shows us that like subtle, like baby steps, like, get yourself to a place of where you can make these lifestyle changes that don't feel like punishment, or like where if you do something so drastic and then you fall back into your other patterns, or it just becomes overwhelming. So it's good to just start small and
I think small sounds good
Yeah.
because like even like my sleep has been better, but I've been going through other things in my life, so it's kind of like, how do I gauge this? Because now,
Right.
yeah, I'm having less caffeine, but now I'm also, my mind's over here. Do you know? It's kind of
Right.
like, so it's like, gotta really be paying attention to how I'm feeling and count
Yes.
those gains as gains and not looking for this huge
that's it. Yeah,
piece by piece. Yeah,
that's it. You got
smaller
it.
steps.
You got it. Small little wins. And then,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I love that. That's so great. I love that your sleep is getting better and you
Yeah.
saw the results. Yeah.
that sleep is important.
It is
Especially
so
with all the
important.
activity. I do
Yes.
a lot of physical,
Mm-hmm.
activity, and that sleep is definitely really important
Yeah.
for my recovery and to be able to keep on waking up and continue. I enjoy being this active, and I got to make
Yes.
sure that my sleep and my nutrition is on point
Yes.
and it matches up to how I want to feel.
Right. Right. And I think I said to both of you when we were in your consultations, you're both so healthy. So it's also, having a consultation isn't just a space to find like what's wrong. We go to a doctor and it's like, okay, what's wrong?
Mhm.
So Ayurveda is just a way to look at, well, what's right and what's working, and continuing that, and then finding things to add into that continue for you feeling good. Yeah.
I like the idea of the whole, because kind of preventive.
Right.
It's like, why wait
Right.
until, why
Until
wait
there's
until
a-
you're feeling
Yeah.
terrible to feel
Yes.
better?
Yeah.
Why not start now? While,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And most of us do, because when we're younger, we feel great. I know I'm guilty of like,
Yes.
why wait until you feel terrible? It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Me
now I'm
too.
injured, and now I understand why all these people are like, I'm in pain. Or it's like
Mhm.
before you're young and you're just like, yeah, you don't
Yes.
even need to warm up, or you're like, I feel
Mhm.
great. These people don't know what they're talking about, and then finally it
Right.
catches up in some type of a way,
Oh,
manifesting, and then you're like, oh, all
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So I feel like,
But I feel like
Having
that time of life happens when that
Yeah.
realization happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's like, how do we ever make anybody understand it until it happens to them? It's like, do some people listen before? It's like, maybe they're like, there are younger kids out there who are like, I do. Maybe it's like, did my parents not teach me that? And that's why I didn't believe that when I was younger. And so I was like, oh no, I'm going to feel great forever.
Right.
But I think we can take that principle and just say, knowing it, because I feel like, yes, you had to experience it to know, like, wow, I did feel this way. Why did I wait so long before I did this to feel better?
Yes.
But we can say, I learned from this, so moving forward in my life, why wait again? And
Right.
it happens, and I'm
Right.
just as, not guilty, but it happens. It's life, and sometimes,
We're just not perfect.
It's a
Exactly.
practice.
It's a practice.
It's a practice. Me too.
And sometimes you just
Yeah.
have to push those limits and find out for yourself. I
That's
guess.
right.
It's like learning. It's curiosity, kind of.
Yes, and I think also it's like working those muscles, so to speak, those intuitive muscles to, again, it's like going back to listening to the body. So like, if there was something wrong, it's almost like a doorbell, like something in you was saying, like way back, like, hey, this doesn't, it's like, it's been tapping.
Yeah.
And then when the disease comes, it's like really knocking on the door because it's been there trying to tell you,
Subtly.
it's like you can assess these things. What's going on with your gut? How do you feel after you eat? Like, what's your elimination look like? There's a lot of poop assessment in Ayurveda. Yes, but that's like the one way you can really look at your health. And it's like, we gotta dive into like, this vessel is here for us, this form is here for us, and like, why not take care of it?
Right? It's so funny how like people are sometimes some people are so curious about themselves, and then other people are like, they don't want to know about themselves.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, yeah.
I felt that way for a long time, like, and it took just within the past, like, last decade of my life, I really started to like spend time and reflecting, and how do I feel right now? I've never really. It's so easy for me to get consumed in my day-to-day life that I wasn't even taking any time to notice how am I feeling,
right?
And sitting with it, like, and is this how I want to feel? Like, I got to ask myself that, and so these past few years have been really pushing me forward with my growth. Spending time and reflecting has helped me grow so much. We have to, because we have to know where we are today. To know, like, not to know, but if we know where we want to be, but we have to know where we're starting from. So that we can, those little wins, we can keep on winning. And so, I wish that I reflected at a younger age, but I guess my life has led to this, that's when I was supposed to,
Yeah. It's divine timing, right?
Divine timing.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's a practice. Like, I think that's the other thing, like, this isn't to make you feel upset if you get a treatment plan and say, like, in 6 months we do another consultation and another like an imbalance comes up. It's not to feel negative about or any hard feelings. Like, you just have an opportunity to see what's there, and then to like see how you can just realign, reassess, and reset. There's always a chance, to do that.
Always the change or the flux, because it's always changing. So
yeah, totally, we're changing all the time. It's crazy. Like, our cells regenerate every 90 days. Like, we're not the same body in like 3 months. Our skin changes, like everything.
The 3 months, can you speak on that? Just like put off a little light bulb. Could you speak on that as far as like, if in an Ayurvedic treatment you assess somebody and you recommend them a certain herb, is there like an amount of time where you're like, okay, so after this amount of time, you continue the herb, you don't continue the herb, and could you kind of speak on like why?
Yes. So I'm going to quote my teacher. He would always say, it all depends. And anytime I would have a sophisticated question, just like, it all depends. So it does. It all depends, right? So the beauty of the other thing with Ayurveda, it's about the individual. So like, what's going to work for me might not work for you. And then say, like, let's give an example of acne. That's a very complicated one, right? Angry skin. So say you just started breaking out in a certain particular area of the face. We'd look at like what's been going on with your diet, because face mapping, there's certain areas of the face. So if it's like here, that's your stomach, that's your lungs, like it's, what's not being flushed out. So say it was here, I might start you on some foods that would start to flush out the gut, the liver, helping your lungs, something like that. And then there's a couple of herbal formulas. So say the breakout was red and dry and like you're getting like pimples. I know this is gross. I picked the weirdest one, but this is a complicated one because acne, like breaking out of the skin, is so different.
Yeah.
So a rash is so different, and when you start to assess, you have to look at like, well, is this a vata situation? Is this a pitta situation? Is this a kapha, or is it both, or is it like all of them going? So the skin, when there's something on the skin, that's something internal going, I really need to get out of here. So there's a blood cleanse formula, and it actually cleans all the blood and the tissues. So I might start you on that, and then say in a couple weeks it starts to clear, but say it was creating a little bit of heat in the body, because some of those herbs in that formula have a little bit of heat, and if you're a pitta, fire and water, and you have a little more heat, that might start aggravating your gut a little bit. So yes, you're right. It does depend. Like when I start someone on an herbal formula, I always check in within those first 7 days to see how they're doing, and then in that next week we check in again, see if it's cleared up. But yeah, there's always opportunity to say, okay, this wasn't working, we'll switch to something else. It's not like you're getting a prescription drug and then all these side effects start to happen that are more harmful than what, it's like natural herbs. So if it's not working, it's just probably gonna like, cause a little disruption, or it won't be clearing up the thing, and then we get to like reassess. But it's all, from the earth and helpful in some way, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
And then is there usually like, because you were saying at 3 months or 90 days your cells regenerate.
Yeah.
So like, is there ever a situation where you would keep somebody on the herb for longer than 3 months, or is there some kind of a like, how do you?
That's a good question too. It all depends.
It all depends.
But no, so I always look at it like, if herbs are there as they're there to support us temporarily. So we don't want to rely on supplements and herbs like forever in Ayurveda. Like some of us, sometimes the supplements are maybe needed for a long period of time because of the imbalances were so deep, like heavy. So, but if you're starting to feel good and you can come off of it, and then your body can naturally do it by itself and with food,
that's the goal right there, is to plan. It's only for
temporary to like
until the body
support.
gets back to where it needs to be on its own, not being dependent. So we just use these herbs as they're just tools to help us come back to homeostasis.
That's right. That's exactly right. And what's so hard about teaching that is that, and it's okay that in the West we need medicine, and I'm a practitioner that's like, the Western medicine is, I'm a fan, we need it, and I'm also, excited that the Eastern philosophies are coming into play. I just wish that more doctors were open to what we do, so that we could be working together. So once you start on an herb, it's very hard to explain to clients that this isn't a magic pill. Like, you have to let the plant do its thing, and your body to do its thing. It's going to take time, or it might happen right away, but it's not like this like drug that's like boom, it's like, I'm going to see results, I'm going to get better. It's like, no, you got to do the work.
It took time to get here.
Right.
So it's going to take time.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. And the commitment. That's the hardest thing, I think. Just like, why is it so hard to love ourselves and commit to ourselves? So a lot of these consultations are just, I just want to be with people, to inspire them to want to love themselves again, to take care of themselves.
You have to believe that what we're doing is working. Believe it so much that we're going to wake up and every day follow our routine because we believe that what we're doing is working.
Yes.
So it's like, I find I use that principle for meditation because I have to get that meditation. And when I don't, those days I kind of feel disorganized.
Yes.
So it's like, how can I stay on top of it? I just have to really believe. And I love to believe. I love to believe because...
Yes, it's a great word.
It is. And believing is I love
Yeah.
endless. There's so many possibilities on everything, and I love to. Whatever it isn't this.
Right. So,
I'm a believer in
I love that.
in every way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love
Me
to
too.
Nothing is what it
Me
seems.
too. Yeah.
Yes,
Right?
exactly
Yeah.
that.
And
Exactly
like you
that.
learn it more and more as you go through life.
Sure.
It's interesting.
Sure.
Can I ask a question about?
Yes.
So what about like the herbs when it comes to like pain and stuff? Like someone like myself, like I deal with a lot of pain. You know, having a fracture in my back, having plates and screws in my pelvis. You know,
Yes.
that's something when I wake up in the morning. Like, and not every morning is a bad morning, but some. You know, I have to get my body moving because when I'm sleeping, my body's completely not active. That's when I'm
Right.
rested state,
Everything's
relaxed, too relaxed. That when I wake up, that's when I'm uncomfortable. So it's a matter of getting my body active again. Once I do like a plank and squeeze my butt, squeeze the abs, start firing my muscles up,
Yeah.
that's when my body starts to really start to feel better.
Yeah.
But what would is there like a formula for that, or how does that work?
Well,
Because is that
and it's like for you, that would be very different for Nina, right? If she's experiencing chronic pain, so there's all different pain, right? And pain relates to vata. So it's very interesting that within the doshas, within the way the body system is, the doshas lie within that. So like vata is all the movement in the body. It's the air, and it's like the joints, it's the flows, the circulation, the blood, all of that. So if there's pain, it means that there's a blockage. So we could think about if you're having joint pain, that's like the joints could be dehydrated or like overworked or overuse. Vata conditions in the joints and the bones happen to elderly people because that's a vata time of life. Like the bones are starting to deteriorate, get weaker, so we have to do different things to move that. So for yourself, waking up with that pain, we might start a sequence of giving you joint mobility stuff, different movements to bring that hydration back into the joints. And then you already know that when you start to do your planks and all that, that will also start to subside the pain. We could look at, there's definitely a lot of different herbal supplement formulas that are for joint pain, muscle pain.
I wasn't considering the movement.
Yeah.
So the movement is part of I wasn't even considering that because the movement is the medicine.
Right. There it is. So
the
you're
movement
already,
is the medicine.
yeah.
Wow. I was only thinking about the herbs and stuff, but it's the
Yes.
whole treatment as a whole complete.
Exactly.
It's the herbs, but it's also these movements that are also totally.
Exactly. And this is so cool that this happened because every time I'm in a consultation, no matter what, there's like a moment where because this is so natural, the person starts to assess themselves, like find the answer, and like, yeah, that's it. So it's like giving the space of like you discovering that about yourself. Like, oh, if I just move, this would probably start to take care of this better. And it's like,
I remember when we did the consultation, consultation.
Yeah, consultation. Yeah.
We were talking about different yoga postures,
Right.
and how different postures are different
With the different doshas. Yeah.
So that was really cool too.
It is really cool.
So putting it all together, it's like
One time,
click.
my friend told me like, "Oh, you need to stop going upside down because you're too vata," and I was like, "Whatever." She's like, "You need to be more grounded. You should stop going upside down so much." Is that like? Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh no!
So if we think of like
Got
how does space and air move? It's up, right? Everything's like up here, right? And then what is the fire element, right? So pitta is fire. It's transition. It's like we have pitta. Probably all three of I have a lot of pitta. Like in my practice, like where we get like we want to keep pushing ourselves, and it's like that focus. It's the competitiveness. It's like the determination. It's like I'm gonna do one more plank. That's the pitta. That's the pitta. So I have to keep that in check in my practice because it's like because it just gets too far. It's like calm down, And then the kapha part of movement is like where we're still. where we're like restoring the deep stretch, the slower movements. We're able to feel the feet, like triangle pose or like a forward fold. Yeah. But you could still go upside down. You probably just need to do a forward fold after to like calm back down. So there's like to find that balance. Yeah. It was very interesting when you guys asked me about how cannabis is incorporated with Ayurveda.
Yeah, that was one.
It's not. I remember asking my teacher, because it's like, this plant is amazing, how it's here, right? So my teacher didn't have much to say about it. He was just like, not in Ayurveda. I was like, fair enough.
Simple answers.
Yeah.
This guy has a lot of simple answers.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's like very vague and just, but it's like it's wisdom. It's like
the delivery, I'm sure, is right on point.
So I imagine, all of the herbs, plants, everything that was given around the time that Ayurveda was being, that these lovely people were writing these books and this knowledge, they were working with what was cultivating on the land in front of them, right? So I feel, as a practitioner, I want to do the same with what's in front of us in this modern time that's here for healing. And it's a beautiful plant, and I love it. So it's like, I've beautifully found a way to incorporate cannabis in my prescribing.
Yes, and that's like definitely leading into one of the questions that we
Perfect.
have. So can you tell us a little bit about how you might incorporate, like, let's say somebody was like me, for example, like I know that already what's worked for me, what doesn't work for me sometimes, but if somebody had really high vata and was having just a lot of anxiety, and that anxiety caused like, they lost their appetite or something like that, like what would you kind of, how could you use cannabis to incorporate into like a routine for somebody who was using it for to like help them eat or calm their anxiety enough to be able to eat, to sleep?
Sure.
What are some of the ways?
So I have a friend who sells and has products of her own, and she specializes in that. So I always love to pass the hat over to someone who's an expert in that field, and it's a way to collaborate, and it's a beautiful way to bring other practitioners in this work. So anything with weed, because it's not my wheelhouse. I know what works for me, but giving the recipes of how they should do the formulas of what they need, I would contact you or Lucian and say, what do you think? And I would ask for your support. I always start with food because I'm very sensitive to the plant, so I like to cook with it and just CBD, which is nice because you don't have the THC and you're not messing with somebody's, you just don't know how they'll react to the plant. So I feel CBD elements of like olive oil or coconut oil, because you could put that in Ayurvedic recipes and it'll create that grounding, and the oil is nice and unctuous, so it'll bring that hydration for vata. But if it was that serious and we're really looking for her to use the plant more, I always outsource to one of my weedologists.
But even if it's not that serious, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You would be like, okay, try these oils, because like incorporating into the oil is more hydrating, which is also going to help with like the vata craziness.
I want to add one thing. So cannabis, CBD, THC, no matter what the cannabinoid is, right? We have an endocannabinoid system, which job is to bring the body back to homeostasis, correct? And now we have Ayurveda, which job is to bring the body back to homeostasis. So we have two things that are really,
just
really
beautifully dancing
crossover,
together.
100%. DNA.
Yeah, I love
The
that.
helix. The
Yeah,
helix?
yes. It's like the book with the guy and all the lines that I saw. Yeah. It's amazing.
You just made me think of something, and then it came into my brain and then went out.
It'll come back. It always does.
Yeah, it does.
the nervous system, the endocannabinoid system. How does it all regulate?
Yeah.
I forgot my question.
It'll come back.
It'll come back.
But I think, we're in a really exciting time with wellness. Like, I feel Ayurveda is something so ancient that the fact that it's now, for lack of a better word, it's a trend. That's okay. I'm good with that. Like, it deserves to be a trend. It deserves to be out here. It's wonderful if you could work with a practitioner and really like dive a little deeper into it and
For sure.
really get to know what it is, because I feel like in the West we tend to filter things to make it all make sense for like the Western culture, and it's like, just be receptive to what it is.
Yeah.
We saw this happen with yoga, and so I'm a practitioner just trying to simply bring the knowledge of Ayurveda to people in a way that's like just as authentic, as authentic as I can, and also as like I'm learning too. It's a lifetime of study.
Exactly. It's we've got to spend time here. This is not just a tidbit of information you're going to get and be like, okay, I did it now.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like we keep pushing toward that. It's just not.
Yes. And there are experts out there in this world. There are beautiful Ayurvedic doctors that have been doing this for many, many years.
Decades. Yeah.
It
takes so much time.
It takes so much time, and so it's just like, come in the door, I'm just here to like show you the door, and
it's a continuous journey, and we're always the teacher and the student.
Right.
I think we always have to remember that we're always a student as well.
That's it. Yeah.
We have to. It doesn't matter how much of a master we are. I think we're still on this journey, and there's always room. We're going to continue to grow until we move on to wherever we're going to move on to.
Yeah, which I think is amazing, because it doesn't stop. So it's like, that's what's so cool. It's like with yoga too, and movement. It's like there's always a place to discover in your body.
Explore a new adventure.
Yeah.
Curious. Keep digging until you get to that
Yeah.
China, the other side of the world.
Right.
Do you ever incorporate any of the CBD, the oils, before any of your movement practices?
Yeah, I love the creams, especially if it has like something pepperminty in there. Yeah, so like an invigorating, or like something to really like release like muscle tightness.
Yeah. Well, that also, it's like terpenes. So like a lot of like the terpenes, again, so in cannabis we've got terpenes, and then also in other plants you find it. So it's like you've actually got some essential oils. We can dig into that. But
I know.
What makes them effective? Like the show us what you've got.
So I brought out some lavender for you guys. That's a lovely strain of that lavender. It's got a little more grassiness to it. That's very good for calming. It's very good for vata.
Oh, yeah, this one smells really good.
It smells really so you just put a little drop on your palm.
There's something about aromas, like like when you go, you smell a bag of weed, and you're like, oh my
god!
god!
It's just like it just There's it's a whole world.
It is.
Right?
I remember last week we had at our event.
Isn't that lovely?
We did some talking on, very calming. We did some talking on the CBD products that we had there, and we had some mint there, and then we got to smell the mint, and it got that same effect. It's that biggest smile I get. Like I love the smells.
Oh yeah.
Plants.
It's so good. Plants, exactly. Yeah, taste them.
During the meditation, he was leading the meditation, but I was going around and giving people a little rub with. I have this like amazing blend. It's Palo Santo, Copal, frankincense, myrrh. There's like
all the grounding,
white sage, and it's really good for grounding, protection, meditation, clarity. And so I was giving everybody just a little mini rub. But you were talking. You didn't
now, you went for that.
He's got it
strong. So
love
now this one, you can mix it with the lavender. So peppermint's really good for. It's invigorating. It's cooling, and it's good for pitta, the fiery. You could put one drop on your belly if you're having any gut situations. I like to bring this when I travel because I feel like after a flight you're a little bit sleepy or tired, you just feel, off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so put
That's
a
a
drop
good
of this, and you just need one because it's like, it is potent. Yeah. And you rub that together, and then you could do like a little dome cup. So like you just breathe in the nose and the mouth.
Woo!
Yeah, it's like, good morning. It's like you don't need coffee. We should be like, can we give it this? Yeah, it's so nice. It's a different high. Those plants, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The power of plants.
Yeah, just watch your eyes, Nina. Yeah. You will have that on your eyes.
That would be.
And then the last one is, I brought a citrus out. This is orange. Citrus is always nice for boosting your mood. It's uplifting. It's a nice combo of all three of these. So, yeah.
They go well together.
Yeah, they go really nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's
is-
fun.
it is
It's
good.
like my little one. He loves the orange. Kids like the citrus. It's
Smells
like it's because
candy.
it's happy.
Yeah.
Candy.
The
Exactly.
same way as a kid, the
Right?
citrus. The citrus.
Yes. And there's like, I don't know, orange popsicles, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some gelinade.
Popsicles.
Gelinade. Yes.
Yeah, that smells so
Right.
good. I feel like you already kind of answered it too. I was gonna ask you, like, because I know being a coach or being a trainer, being a teacher, what do you feel like has been your greatest gift from like doing this practice and doing this work, and like, what's your greatest takeaway kind of been so far? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's always more and more like
Yeah.
that comes in. And you're like, oh wow.
Yeah. Wow, there's so much to say. I think what we do is like we're so lucky to be able to be in service for people,
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's fitness or in Ayurveda, and anything in wellness and teaching how to feel good in your body again is like, I love what we get to do, and that's a gift in itself. And I would say nothing, it's like I still have trouble like receiving when somebody just lets me know like deeply how much I've helped them, like where they feel so like the transitions of like how their bodies just feel better, and those years of trying to do something to get it to be functioning, or where they just feel comfortable in their skin. So I think just, those moments of where I've had clients just deeply thank me for giving them like that opportunity to feel good again. Yeah, because we all deserve to feel good, and it's not that hard. It's like, I don't know what's made it so hard.
I know. It's like, how did we humans complicate things so much for
Technology.
ourselves?
Didn't we? Yeah, it's
Technology.
part of it.
Yeah,
It's part of
it really is. It's
And then,
stupid
and I feel
fun.
like, I also feel the work that we do, it's like, it doesn't resonate on a device. It doesn't, for how I want to share this knowledge, it's like, this is beautiful. Like sitting with you guys and this too, because this just creates something different in the experience of learning this.
Yeah, well, we want you guys out there to really like show up in real life and take the time and come be in real life and experience and actually feel it, because it is real. And I think it is kind of like why we do what we do. Like you feel the power of, since you've been younger, you've been doing fitness, doing wellness, but like not really understanding why, but feeling it, like feeling and understanding. And then my first Ayurvedic experience was actually, it's interesting because I've had like a kapha imbalance when I was in my earlier 20s, like, partying too much, but being a little bit more on like the sleeping too much or doing whatever. And then now to like balance it with Ayurveda and never have gone back to that, and always just been very easily able to, it's like my whole shift. I've seen it happen. But then to get on the Vata side and be like imbalance now on the other side and like know and understand how to bring it back in. So it's not like somebody told me and I just learned this information and was like, okay.
Right.
It's like, wow, I actually felt this in my life and like it's been profoundly changing. And then we've worked at the same place, so we've seen these people that also had profound changes, like people that could barely speak because they were so shy because their skin was so bad, to being like a completely different person because their skin healed and their whole personality like changed. And it's like, you know, you could cry because you're like, wow, it's like, that's real life. That's not on a screen. It's never going to be on Instagram.
No.
You know, so like, come be with us in real life. Get out here, people. Feel better.
Yes, absolutely.
Rock and roll.
It was so good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this because, you know, you're helping to spread this knowledge. And I'm grateful to be here with you.
We're so grateful to have you here, and we share the same goal. We just want everyone to feel good.
Yes.
And that's why we do what we do.
Yes.
Like, just want everyone to feel good.
Yeah.
Because we all deserve to feel good.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not that hard to feel good. No. We just have to do the work.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and we all appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. It was like so great to spend time and to get some knowledge and to just know that it's like a continuous experience and then before we leave can we ask like where, so right now we're in Brooklyn and then
and my studio is here in my home, which is nice.
So like if people do want to come and experience a consultation in real life, they can find you
on obviously still on Instagram. And then my website. Do I plug that in?
Oh, awesome.
What's your
so
website?
my company is named
on the website. We'll have a link so people can find you.
It's called HillerbrandHolistics.com. Hillebrand is my great grandmother's maiden name, and I named it after her because I feel all of the natural remedies that I learned of healing came from my aunts, my grandmother. You know, our ancestors taught us something in natural medicine first. Whether if it was like
eat garlic.
Eat garlic, or like potatoes for like a fever, but there was always some little, you know, beautiful thing that they were doing in the kitchen that would heal you. So
definitely.
It's named after her.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
The homage to the ancestors.
Yes, grandma.
Keeping it real.
Thank you all for joining us today. Make sure you like this video and you're subscribed to our channel.
See you later.
See you later.
Amazing.